So we're looking forward to sharing a bunch of material with you. And also, this is a two-way conversation. Please feel free to use the chat box to put in your comments, your questions, your ideas, because, as you know, the world of mobile devices is so vast and growing every day that there's no way that Victor can know everything. I looked to him to know everything, but about these apps, all the apps out there. So we start with a disclaimer that everything you hear here is subject to being changed in an hour in the world of mobile devices.
All right, so let's start with some news. And one of the things that's coming up, iOS 7, I believe. It's the latest version of the system software for Apple iOS products. That would be the iPhone, the iPad, all the versions thereof. Will only run on iPhone 4 and above, I believe. And as with all new software, I usually recommend waiting, a couple of months, maybe even up to 6 months after it's introduced. Don't jump right on it because there's usually bugs on the first version, right? So they do it 7 point, or 7.2, whatever, something like that. Let other people be the guinea pigs. And it usually works better for the newer phones, so, 4S, 5 definitely would probably. This usually means that new phones are coming out too.
There we go. The Who, they're always jumping in. It's expected.
So, what's new in iOS 7? Well, they're changing a lot of the look. They're getting away from the 3D-ish looking icons, going to more of a flatter kind of a look. More integration with Safari. They have it's a minor improvements, not a big thing, but a little bit faster. And they have some more GPS series being updated. So look for that. I believe fall is when they're looking to put that out. Yesterday they just put out the beta version for the iPad, so people are testing that out. But this one should be out around fall. You will be able to upgrade it, I believe, either via iTunes or.
Great. In other news, Pico projectors, something that I've been watching for 3 years or more. This idea of the handheld projector. Given we have handheld mobile devices, why do we have to lug around these large suitcase-sized data projectors? Well, the Pico projector, as its name implies, is extremely small, and there's been a number of them on the market for quite a while. However, it's only been recently that I finally have found one that I find actually worth it, useful. Right. I actually bought one of these before for the university to try out, and it was fascinating, but I found that it could only project movies and slides. Right. It was not able to project the actual feed from your mobile device. In other words, to do mirroring, as they call it, to mirror what's on your mobile device. And the reason that's important is, other than watching movies, I love watching movies, but so often we're out, we want to share something from an app. We want to share something from one of our videos or anything else that you might need to share.
Well, from a training perspective, you want to actually show the app how, or even using the iPad or the iPhone, how do you go back and forth between different pages and whatnot. So this allows you to do that, to actually show exactly what you're seeing on your iPad through the projector, right?
Right. So let me show you what I found. I found this. Let's go ahead and jump over to the video feed. We're going to try to show you this Brookstone projector, Pico projector, that I found at Amazon after looking it up. So here's my projector. Actually, here's my iPad. And let me go ahead and turn the lights on. There we go. So this is the Brookstone Pico projector. Try to get that in the frame there. And you can see it's one small little device. It's actually, here's a cell phone for comparison. And the idea here is that I can travel with this thing in my, basically in my pocket. If I'm wearing cargo pants, I can put this projector in my pocket. And that's sometimes they're called pocket projectors. And again, the idea here is that I can simply connect up this, it uses an HDMI connector, and then it goes to my tablet.
And this is
with the adapter.
right?
Right, this is
HDMI to the
right, I'll try to show that there. I got my name on it because it's one expensive little puppy, didn't want to lose it. But basically, it gives you the option for an HDMI connector here that goes to the Pico projector and then plugs into my iPad. Now, this technology will work on other phones as well, I'm assuming. However, it is interesting to note that I have not been able to get this projector to work with the iPhone. But I want to...
iPad mini.
Or the iPad mini at this point. But let's go ahead and take a look at the projection quality of this thing. And this is kind of wild and upside down. There we go. Now the idea here is that these projectors are very short in terms of lumens. They're nothing compared to the technology used with your standard data projectors. But this one is using the DLP technology from Texas Instruments. It's I think, a very bright image given what you want to do. I plan on using this just for sort of quick off-the-cuff presentations. You will have to darken the room a little bit to bring these images out from the background because, again, they're just not that bright. But I can get quite a large image up, probably about a 60, 70-inch image. And I'll tell you, Victor, last night I tried this just for fun on my patio outside, sitting in the dark, and plugged in my iPad and put up the latest edition of Newsroom. And I was at my own drive-in theater with this little projector, not that much bigger than my phone.
Pretty cool.
So anyway, something to consider in your technology bag is a Pico projector. This one cost about just about $289, I believe. Brookstone, as you know, is you'll see them at the airport. And somebody said that probably makes sense, that Brookstone would come out with probably the best rated traveling projector because that's what businessmen often do. So there'll be more posted about this in on our blog that'll look at some more details. And with that, we'll move on.
Okay, so the blog we have in the notes there on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, www.blogs.oregonstate.edu/EMDUG. Someone says it's $299.99 on Amazon, so
Yep.
$300.
Okay, yeah, that's about right. Then there's another about $29 for the adapter cable. Okay, so now onwards to our content that we've been waiting to share for a year.
Video Mania. Video on a mobile device. This is nothing short of amazing, Jeff. I mean, just a few years ago, even imagining this thing was kind of like a pipe dream, right?
Yeah.
We're both kind of from a media production background, and thousands of dollars to produce something.
And cameras that were the size of a large dog across your shoulder to get a good signal.
Yeah, and those were the smaller cameras. The TV cameras they used to use. Put on pedestals and whatnot. They were just so big and heavy. Editing. I thought it was a big deal when we were able to do it on our desktops. But now we can produce a complete program right off our mobile devices. You have your camera, you have your editing all within. You can post it from here. You can broadcast.
Publish to the world.
It's amazing. Now, granted, the quality is not going to be as good as full what you see on your HD TV or whatnot, but it's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Every year they come up with new cameras. The cameras on these things nowadays, the iPhone 5, the iPad 3, just amazing video. You can even do this with top of the line consumer cameras just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So why the big fuss, though? I mean, those of us in Extension know that we have an awful lot of information that people want to get a hold of. And we do that primarily through text, and that's been a solid way of getting information out for many, many, many years. However, people's interests have also grown to want short multimedia pieces. They want the information just in time and just enough of it. And they'd love to see things. They want to be shown. And the idea that you can do that with your mobile device, create a short video that doesn't have to fight against the text side of the world, but it adds to it. And people are looking for all kinds of ways to find the information they want. And YouTube has provided a great way to access that information.
Well, I know I go onto YouTube when I want to find out how to do something. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, I wonder if someone came up to show me how to do this. And I go to YouTube, type in the search, and invariably there's a video.
Yeah. I just bought a new door to put in our garage, and I've never put in a door. And I found like 8 videos right away on YouTube. And I ended up watching them all because every one of them had a different take on how to install an exterior door. Mm-hmm. I remember too, one time I was in a bar and wanted to learn how to do the hand jive while the band was playing the song. And I looked it up on YouTube in time to show the group sitting there how to do the hand jive. So you just never know. Again, it's just in time, and it shows you visually. Right. So here's some interesting factoids that you probably have already read while we've been blabbing, but it doesn't take much to realize that YouTube has really changed the way people are getting information, and the sheer volume
1 billion unique
is just staggering. Just staggering.
6 billion hours of video are watched each month, and a lot more are actually uploaded. There's more uploaded than is watched. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could watch 24/7 for the rest of your life and still see all the videos out there.
Yeah, and as we know, much of it is pretty forgettable. But at the same time, it's the possibilities of what Extension can put up to share how-tos, informational programming, short clips on techniques, gardening. So we'll want to get into that. And we'd like you to be thinking as we're talking about sort of the technical side of this, is the content side. What is it that you could do with your mobile device to create some video? What would be some of the topics or some of the projects that you would think of that would advance the Extension reach using video? And we'll come back to that at the end to see what folks have come up with. I have a feeling, Victor, that some of the folks here probably have already made videos with their mobile devices.
Likely.
Likely.
Yeah.
even if it's of their cat. But
that's a good start.
It is a good start.
They say the internet is nothing but cat videos.
Yeah.
So again, we were talking about video studio in your pocket. This technology is just amazing what you can do now with what you have. Video apps. So,
tons of them.
It's really hard to review them all. There's just so many of them. But the great thing is that the mobile devices usually come with one already installed, and that's where we suggest you start. The camera app, right? On iPhone, iPad, on Android, there's another one. Start using that. It's very simple. You just pretty much point and shoot. It's the same software that you use for your photos. There's a little switch that you go over from the camera to the still camera over to the video camera, and then you can start shooting video. Very simple. But there are other apps that you can also use. There are what's called kind of like pro camera apps, all right? These apps give you more control over your image. The standard ones that come with the mobile devices, it's pretty much, again, just point and shoot. So it doesn't let you do much. There are other ones like Filmic Pro. That is an iPhone, iPad app that lets you actually control your exposure, control your focus, so you can lock in your focus. The standard camera app has the autofocus, and so if you're moving around or things are moving around, focus tries to shift.
Yeah,
it's looking for what it thinks is the main subject, but sometimes it guesses wrong. So you see this,
it's guessing back and forth.
Out. It's all automatic, and you have no control over that. Well, these pro camera apps actually let you select what you want to be in focus at any point. Plus, it also lets you set exposure. On the automatic camera app, it will also try to change the colors and the lighting automatically, and it doesn't always guess correctly. With this pro apps, they let you, change the color, they let you change the exposure or hold the exposure, so it's not constantly flickering or moving. And they're a little bit more complicated, but they're not too bad.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed, and I used Filmic Pro for quite a while. I put it away because I started running out of memory, but I think I'm going to come back to it. But one of the things these secondary apps do, though, is they require that you save the video in a separate move to put it into your photo album. In other words, it often saves it in its own folder.
Yes.
Right, so it's not the one-stop shopping that you get with the built-in camera. It's saving it to another place. That must be one of those things, that, at least with the Apple, that they don't want people putting stuff in the photo.
Well, you can transfer it from
You can transfer it.
I think part of that is because they're actually you're doing put effects, put text on it, and that type of stuff, and so it doesn't totally render it until you save it over into your photo.
Right, so you're exporting it basically.
Right.
When you're ready, you export it to any number of places, including your film.
And that allows you to go back and do changes after the fact, your raw footage. So that's why they keep it separate.
Yeah, and I also see that these things will shoot different frame rates and that kind of thing. 16:9, different aspect ratios, variable frame rates, slow motion. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, slow motion is great, especially on the newer iPhone cameras. They shoot at a higher frame rate. And the higher the frame rate, you can actually slow that down. So you get the smooth, slow-mo action type of thing, like on sports. Audio metering is also great. You can
That'd be nice.
Tell your audio levels, something, again, that the standard camera cannot show.
Yeah, one of the things we'll come back to is some basics about video, what makes it a good video, and you can follow just a couple of rules to help make your mobile videos more viewable and usable. And audio is really important. It's surprising. We'll put up with watching all kinds of things. But if we can't figure out what people are saying, we can't hear it, we get frustrated real quickly, and it's hard to attend to something. So we'll come back to that, but the idea of audio is important. Okay, well, that's actually a perfect segue into how do you do this? And we're not trying to make anybody into a video producer, because you already are one. I think in this modern world, you've got the studio in your pocket or your purse, and you can pull it out when you see something of interest. This can happen while you're in a field presentation or at a demonstration at a 4-H camp. Who knows what it could be? But there are some things you can do to try to get that footage to be
a little bit better.
A little bit better. Right.
More
Yeah. So, what kinds of things might that be? Well, why don't we start one with, it's probably good to play with your camera. If you haven't used your video camera, you want to use it before you go out there. Yeah, just play around. Do the video of the cat or the goldfish or whatever, and just get familiar with the controls.
The second most important thing that you probably want to remember is try to keep that steady. It's a little tough, with an iPhone because it's a little small, so, two-handed, not one-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your elbows in tight close to your body, and it just kind of steady yourself. You can also lean against a wall, maybe,
mm-hmm.
so it gives you more stability. Or just hold, the mobile device on top of something.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to just give it more of a solid feel, solid look. There is a little bit of a anti-shake logarithm in some of these apps.
Yeah.
They'll reduce the shake, but they don't take it out completely. So you want to try to reduce as much movement as possible. Otherwise, people start getting a little seasick looking at your footage.
Right.
There are also tripods and adapters that you can put on these things. So you can put on tripods, holders, stabilizers.
And we've got a few we'll show a little later.
Great.
Another thing is remembering the idea that these cameras, you can shoot in a vertical or horizontal mode. And it's not uncommon these days to see videos that are actually vertical.
Yeah.
It used to be, and Victor, you may disagree on this, but I remember when we first saw these things, it was a sign of a real amateur when they would post their videos in a vertical format. So you have this tall video, and we thought that was funny. People didn't realize to turn their camera. Well, it usually is best to turn your camera to a landscape mode so that it fits the television screen fully. There are going to be times where either in the heat of the moment, you forget to, it doesn't make it unusable or unwatchable. However, again, to maximize the amount of room you have in your video, make sure you think about it and then turn your camera in horizontal mode.
Yeah, and that's what we're used to seeing. But there are times that a vertical actually makes sense. I mean, if you're taking video of a tree, trees are vertical.
It says tree, the very shape of it.
One thing you have to remember, though, is that you're going to have some ability of rotating that video in either your editing app or wherever you publish it. Because, yes, you can shoot it vertical, but your video is going to publish horizontal for the most part, unless you have some way of rotating that. So you've got to keep that in mind. You can do that in some of the video apps.
Yeah.
But that's another reason to shoot horizontal.
I've had that happen where I have a vertical one and it wants to be vertical, and I have to keep turning the camera to get it to get straight from the screen, but it keeps flipping.
The screen keeps right the
opposite. Yeah, you can't get there from here. Another thing we mentioned too was, again, sound. If you're going to be using your mobile devices, your phones, whatever, iPads or tablets, and you're interviewing somebody, if you're using the built-in camera, which microphone that's in the phone, then you want to get close.
Yes.
You get
These
close.
microphones are for close miking. How you think about it, when you're using your phone, you have the phone up to your ear, right? Listening to it. A microphone is optimally placed so it can pick up your voice, close by. It's using the same mic for the video, so you want this close to your subject, whoever's talking on that. Otherwise, it's picking up everything.
Yeah, so that means a pretty tight headshot, as we call it, just a head and shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get that close, The further out of the way, you're going to hear noises from the background will dominate. If there's any breeze, you're going to hear that. So
another thing you can do, let's say there is a lot of wind and whatnot, you're shooting the video. Well, some of these apps, especially some of the editing apps, let you go and do a voiceover after the fact.
Yeah.
So go ahead and shoot the video. Don't worry about the audio, and you can do the audio after.
Right. And we'll look at some of those apps just a little bit later today. Also, I found that video, of course, is a memory hog. It'll eat up the memory in your phone or iPad or tablet pretty quickly. So it's just something to think about. I've run out of memory before, right, when something really interesting was happening, because I forgot to manage my smartphone data by going back to my computer and downloading, dumping, moving to Dropbox, whatever, get it off my phone so I can release enough room for the next video project.
Right. Yeah, I have to constantly taking off photos, especially. I can shoot 2 or 3 videos at a time. Remember to copy those over, send them to YouTube, or send them to Dropbox so I can clear it up for the next.
Yeah. Okay. So, oops, we both clicked at the same time. More video apps. Well, here's where you've got the idea of how the ability of smartphones to be anywhere and be socially engaged has created some pretty interesting new apps out there and new ways to include video. So we wanted to take a look at least 1 or 2 of these to show you what's going on that might be, I think, could be applied to extension.
And that's where Vine comes in. Okay?
Vine.
Vine is one of the latest, hottest social media apps out there, and it's specifically for video. This is not just any video. This is 6-second videos, which you're thinking, what can you do in 6 seconds? How can you show it? I mean, how can that even be possible? Well, if you can do a story, beginning, middle, and end in 6 seconds. Believe it or not, you can shoot 6 different frames and show 1 per second, and that's enough to get information across.
Yep. And it's interesting because maybe we could demo this. Is it possible?
Yeah.
Let's do a little Vine demo. Because the very nature of Vine is that it is doing a loop. So how is it that you can put that to best use in telling a story in 6 seconds? Okay, so get that lined in there, right? So here's the Vine interface on my phone. I don't know if we can zoom in on that. Probably not much.
I can get closer.
Now this one just happens to be on the home page when I just punched in Vine on my phone. And so it looks like it's a wedding between 2 rather gorilla-type people. But I'm going to actually show you what I did. I decided to investigate Vine a couple weeks ago, and so I actually looked at I was out there on a bike ride, and was watching the agricultural equipment go by, and I call this one Tractor Convoy. Basically, all I did was this one combine went by, and I managed to see him coming in time, and realized by the looping nature of Vine that I've created basically an infinite number of tractors going by. And it goes on and on and on. But maybe, again, the idea here is just one idea. You're trying to get across one idea. In this case, I was just exploring the idea of agricultural equipment. The other is that the way this works is that you can actually create the videos just by pointing the camera. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see this. We'll try.
Get too close.
Yeah, this is tough to do, but there's Mr. Villegas. Yeah, that way. And then all I have to do is, when I hold down my thumb on the screen, it starts shooting. So wave at us, and now stop waving. Okay? Now, I just made the video, that little green line went across, and now there it is. It's looping back and forth with Victor's cheerful wave to us.
Over and over.
Over and over and over. But, you know, this may seem kind of silly at first, but if you think about the concept, I have seen some pretty interesting how-to videos that have come from, was it
Lowe's?
Lowe's, right?
Lowe's.
We ought to pull one of those up because they're pretty amazing how they work.
Let's bring that up. That is definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, these are ways that you can take 6 seconds and show somebody how to do something. And there must be thousands and thousands of things that we've got an extension that are just quick things like, you know, how to separate an egg yolk from the egg white. You could do a Vine video on that, 6 seconds, and there you go. The Vine videos also are easy to share with the world. They are available on the Vine app itself, like you saw demonstrated, but also you can share them to your Facebook pages, and I think, yeah, you could probably
Is that coming up yet?
download them. Not yet. Raise your hand if anybody's out there used Vine besides us. Let us know.
Or any other video app.
Yeah, there's a ton out there. Oh, one person raised a hand. All right, Lane. Hey, you should send us the link to your Vine, Lane. We have a surprise at the end of this show too that has to do with Vine. So, all right, so we're going to see if we can find a couple of those Vines.
Good.
You know, when I was making this, again, the idea, how do you make a video that has the beginning tie in nicely to the end so that the loop kind of makes sense? And if you go to the Vine app, you'll see a lot of examples, some of them really funny, very creative ways to make a video, basically a snake that's biting its own tail, but it makes a certain amount of sense in the loop. Okay, here we go. 6-second vines. All right, so this one is...
It's a home tip on how to organize your cleaning materials. So the same, use one of the shoe hangers. Just put all of your, simple idea.
And they
just a tip.
And they animate it just by touching the screen.
Yes, and very small.
Just peck away at the screen. Every time you touch the screen, Vine will record only as long as your finger's on the screen. So obviously these people just put the item on the table, in this case, how to get a sticker off a cup, and they would hold their finger on the Vine for a second or less, far less, move the cup, touch the screen again, move the cup, touch the screen, that kind of thing. You'll be your own Disney Studios.
Yeah, so
in effect.
Vine is actually a Twitter product, and it works in conjunction with Twitter really well. So right here you can actually see their Twitter feed. Any sticker peels right off and using a hairdryer. Okay, that's the description. That they're telling you how to do it, but there's nothing like actually showing you how to do it, and how it happens. Let's see a few other
So you could, as an extension, folks, you could post your tweet about a simple how-to and include it in the Vine. Include your Vine in the tweet, right?
Just a simple prune, right? A one pruning or planting something. How do you dig it? How do you cut something? You can do it in 6 seconds.
How to get on a horse. I could use that.
Get the rust stains off your knives with lemon juice. I mean, look at that. Simple. To the point.
Wait 10 minutes, it looks like. That's what it is?
It just
Yeah, 10 minutes.
This one's kind of cool. That's like,
Oh, yeah.
great idea. It's like really stripping out some of the screws. Just use a rubber band.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think I would have thought about it or read it, but if I'm seeing a picture of it, an image like this.
Yeah. So start thinking about how we could use this for, and not just buying 6 seconds. Okay, maybe that might be limiting to some people. How about 30-second or 1 minute video? You obviously wouldn't use Vine for that, but Instagram has actually come out with, Instagram's known for photos, right?
Yeah.
Well, since Vine started happening, Instagram was seeing, hey, we need to get into the action, and Instagram came out with video, and their videos are longer, so I don't remember
15 seconds.
15 seconds. There you go.
Yeah, so their video wars. 15 would be a whole different enchilada, wouldn't it, though? I mean, think about it. The 6 seconds is very handy. By the way, Lane says he would like to send us his Vine, but he's not sure. He has it on his phone, but how does he share it or find it on the computer?
Well, you can share it through Vine, okay? But you can also, if you have it on your phone, you can save it into your photo album and then email it from there, just like any other video or photo.
Yeah.
You can also, once it's in your photo album on your mobile device, you can also upload it to YouTube.
So there's the answer, Lane. Just go into your Vine app and share it, either directly via email if that lets you do it, or to your photo album, and then email from there. You can email it to jeff.hino@oregonstate.edu.
So Instagram, we just talked about that.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet.
I haven't either. This was just something recently.
Is anybody else? If you've used Instagram, let us know. But
yeah, Instagram for videos.
Yeah, for videos.
Okay. And Instagram, I believe, is bought by Facebook. So yeah, it's the Facebook Twitter war.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Oh, okay. Now onward.
Video editing.
Yeah, this is where a lot of people get bogged down. Is you want to create a video, but you realize that you need to edit it. Well, we want to talk a little bit about all the ways you can look at doing that, and some of them are very, very, very simple. In fact, you can do it with in-camera editing.
Yeah, you don't even need an app for that,
yeah,
right?
Right.
You do in-camera editing.
Yeah. And most apps that I've seen that are in camera will have what amounts just to the idea of shoot your images in sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Think through the process you're trying to show. If it's how to climb on a horse.
Well, isn't that exactly
you want to take a close
look? Vine,
yeah.
For Instagram, I mean, you're thinking of, okay, I'm going to push hold down the button for this many milliseconds or seconds, whatever, to shoot the first scene, and then hold it again for the second scene. I mean, you're basically editing right there, choosing your shots before you're even shooting. So that's in-camera editing.
Yeah, and this, there is the issue, of course, is that when you shoot like this, there's a little bit of a misnomer here because it's going to save each scene as a separate file on your phone.
Right.
So we still have to sew them together somehow. But nonetheless, I think it's a good thought experiment is just think through the process or the story, what is the beginning, middle, and end, and try to avoid shooting stuff that you don't need. I mean, that's ideally, we would all shoot only the stuff we need.
Well, the great thing about videos is you can compress time. You don't have to show all of the procedure. You can show just you starting to do the digging, or, for tilling the garden or whatnot. You don't have to show the whole process. You just show the starting part of it, and then, the before, during, and after kind of like thing. I mean, if you're going to show 45 minutes of digging, that is.
But you could use the app that lets you speed it up. Take that 45 minutes digging, make it into 3 seconds. See that. I've seen that done a lot. Makes it pretty compelling. Okay, well, the in-camera editing is makes sense. Also, you can, usually what's going on with your videos is what you shoot at the beginning isn't quite what you want. And then your camera kind of tails off at the end, something happens, you jump in front of the camera, whatever. So how do you trim the head and the tail, as they call it, off of your movie clips? Usually very easy to do. In this particular app that's on the Apple iPhone, you can actually see on either side of the top screen all those little frames. I don't know if we have a pointer or not, but the idea that they can then move, you can actually drag and pull the beginning to cut out the unnecessary material. And similarly, at the foot, the tail rather, you can drag that to reduce stuff at the other end. So, easy to do. All right. Now we go on to something that's a little more sophisticated.
Yeah, this is what most people think of, actual editing video. Move your clips around. They don't have to be in the exact same order that you shot them. Actually, put them in different sequence, right?
And you can bring in titles. You can add transitions between scenes.
Music, voiceover. iMovie is the one that's available for, again, iOS devices, on Android being an Apple product. There's other applications for those devices, but iMovie is probably one of the easiest ones, would you say, Jeff?
Yeah. It's fairly intuitive how to use, and it just, again, the idea of playing with something like this is probably one of the best things you can do before you launch into reading the manual. Just these things that are, like I say, fairly visual.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you do that. You have your clips, right? You have your different takes, and then you select which ones you want. You trim them to the length that you want, using the in and the out point.
Yeah, much like the in camera. Yeah.
Right, and then you put them in whatever sequence that you want, and then you publish it. It just strings them all together. You can also put transitions between them, so it's not just straight cuts. Jump cuts from one scene to another, but you have the fade in, fade out, mixing type.
Yeah, and then add text if you need to identify steps in a process, or to identify your speaker if you're showing an expert talking on something. Mm-hmm. Very easy to do. And then, of course, it also gives you a real quick way to share to YouTube.
Yes, directly from
the iMovie app. So one of the things, if you don't have one, you'll want to get a Google ID, so a Google password, so you get a Google account, so that you can.
Or the Android stuff.
Or the Android materials.
Oh, are you talking for YouTube? Yes, for YouTube.
For YouTube, right. Because, just if you want to post things, then you have to have an account. Now, this is one that I've actually found was pretty fascinating. Another option, and there's probably more of these out there, hundreds out there. But you might want to explore this too, is there are some apps that make editing pretty easy to do without having to be giving it a whole lot of thought. And one of them is Givet, spelled Givit. And I was looking at this just the other day. It tends to be a real popular one for skateboarders and other action sports type folks to use.
So this kind of just automatically makes the editing for you?
No, this one actually isn't automated. This is another but very simple editor.
Oh, simple.
A simple editor, yeah, not quite automated.
Because I've seen some that will actually kind of review your footage,
right,
and try to look for the action, and it will make the cuts and the selection for you. Yeah.
Do you remember one of the names on one of those? I think I've used one before. It actually worked out not too bad. Yeah, we'll. If anybody remembers one of those, they can be fun.
Control over.
Sometimes what those automated ones will do is give you a lot of special effects, and if you were trying to give let's say you had just hosted a workshop and there was a lot of team building, you could take a lot of images of people and the activities and the things they did during the workshop, briefly,
Right.
send it to this automated kind of app. And I've seen it where it actually will make a very spiffy, high sort of special effects piece, like a minute long with music going and
what it works
things
best
zooming
for
in
is
and out.
montages.
Yeah,
right?
montages.
A montage.
That's the word.
So just a sampling of what happened at the
Yes.
event. So either photos or videos. I just remember, Magisto for Android, says Vince. I think Magisto might be available for the iPhone also. And an online one, I just remembered, it's called Animoto.
Oh, yes, I've used Animoto, yes.
So there's a free 30-second one.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay if you want to get longer videos. But
we actually used Animoto for a piece that went on our website for the for extension, experimentation, communications. It worked out fine for just that kind of montage thing you mentioned.
Yeah, and they have music you can select from, so it will actually sync the different effects.
Yeah, and music,
cool.
Right? Then music's a big deal because everybody wants to use their favorite songs, and you can't. So, all right, so let's have some fun with this one.
Novelty video apps. Wow. Sky's the limit on this one. There are more and more video apps that kind of want to do the Instagram type thing, we'll colorize your images. Well, you can do it with video. So I actually have one. I'm going to show you real quick. It's turns all your video into a cartoonish.
Which could be useful, again, if let's say you're trying to reach a younger audience.
All right, let's see what's going here. Here's my phone, and I'm going to actually...
Film noir. Use some. Here, you get your light on.
Trying to get it where it's...
There it is.
This way. Upside down. That better?
Yeah.
Right side up. Okay, here we go. So video effects. I have folders for all my videos. Applications. Not in that one. Tune camera. Okay, here we go. So, see Jeff there.
It's going to be.
It's a little tough because the resolution.
Yeah, he's already adding a lot of special effects to it just because of the low bandwidth of Connect.
So it doesn't look too cartoonish
I can
off
turn
of
the
the
light.
video feed. Now let's try some light. But trust me, it is.
I look
very
rather cartoonish there.
Let's see if I put my hand here.
Well, if you move it out, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, see my hand,
Oh, right, yeah.
my fingers,
Oh, definitely that
compared to
play.
this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's spooky. It's kind of like an X-ray machine.
Yeah. So it just kind of puts it contrasting in different colors. Hard to see. All right. You can kind of see Jeff there.
Yeah, it's kind of a clay head there.
Yeah. So it's not straight video. All right. And other apps will make it where it will just turn it like black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of all the color. Or just have one color emphasized. So they're not something you use for everything, but they're just little specialty fun apps for particular things. There's other ones that will, lasers and whatnot. Not sure how you would use that in extension, but there are.
Yeah, you've got some listed here. I know you've played probably more with these than I have. There's Video Painter.
Video Painter, that's this one right here. You can actually paint your video. So I'm taking video and I'm paint over it.
So you're recording live video and it's letting you paint at the same time.
Correct. Yeah. So I would just start the recording right here.
Ah. So you could circle an object of interest, for example, that was in the frame.
Mm-hmm. Choose different colors. Mm-hmm. And then it's exporting. So a lot of these effects, they're not real time. You actually have to, record and do your thing, and then it will export the file. Clear that. Mm-hmm.
And I know you played with some of these that will do like effects of old cameras, Super 8 millimeter.
This is one right here, 8 millimeter. It basically turns your camera into an old. Again, it's really tough to see. You can kind of see the film scratches on there.
Yeah.
So
just need the sprockets breaking at the end of the film.
It gives it a little vintage look. This is great for trying to do a reenactment type, like in a documentary. They use this all the time. Even in Hollywood, they'll use iPhone apps to create old-looking footage from new videos.
iPhones in Hollywood.
So there's it even gives you the jumping of the camera. You can see that, those old films that the frame would just move back and up.
Jeez.
Any other ones you have, Joe?
Well, I just want to mention there are some that are kind of specialty and they give you a different distribution option, and one of them is Ustream. Ustream is a publicly available way to actually stream live, broadcast live your own stream from your event. So you have to have, of course, you'd have to have Wi-Fi coverage, and you could be at, let's say, the fair, and you decide to do a live broadcast from the fair. You can actually stream that from the remote location if you have Wi-Fi. We actually used this at the last spring training, and we had some good results.
It doesn't only work over Wi-Fi though; it also works over regular.
With the phone, okay.
It's
not as good.
High quality.
Okay.
But, I'm trying to play the one they have here, the brown bear and salmon cams. But it's taking a while.
So people just need to have just a URL on which you're streaming, I assume, in order to participate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that you could send out easily.
So Ustream.
Yeah. Another one that's of interest is we haven't had a chance to play with this, but we've talked about it a lot, which is called Viclone. And Viclone actually allows you to have multiple cameras at a single event. And everybody is shooting the event from their own smartphone, and then they all submit them to Viclone. And Viclone will actually do what we talked about, the automated editing, and create a piece taking shots from each of the cameras, and it synchronizes it because it knows at what time they were shot using a built-in clock that information is embedded as metadata in the video. So basically it's creating a multi-camera shoot. So it could be pretty interesting. Again, let's say you're at a fair and you're looking at, let's say, folks that are showing their livestock. The kids are showing their prize livestock. You could have a camera that's up close looking at the kid, another one that's further away looking at the crowd and the large scene, and then send them to Viclone, and you'd be able to create a video that showed a variety of angles, and they would automatically edit it for you. Again, a little scary. Don't know how they decide when to edit, but...
Yeah, there's one right here where it's actually 3 different cameras, 3 different angles, all shooting at the same time, and it's just jumping back and forth between them. Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine, again, if it was a large live event with a lot of things going on, and you want to give people a taste of it, that could be a pretty interesting way to go.
All right, so this is one camera, one angle. Should change to a different. Yeah, that's a different
There's
camera.
another camera.
You can actually see the camera guy there on the other side. Okay.
That's another angle. Yeah.
So there's like 3 different angles, all in sync.
Yes. And it looks like they made cut decisions that were reasonable. Somebody should try this and send us a URL to look at. One last one I want to share real quickly is, this is kind of a silly one, but you never know when you might need to take your video that you've made and make it into a flip book. In the case this one does just that. It's called Flip Filmer, and it takes, in this case, my video of the tractors going by, and I make a flip book out of it, and I can actually
Oh,
remember when kids we used to take our notebooks and do that? Yep.
that's cool. That's taking new technology.
Yeah, it's going backwards. Anyway, these are kind of things that they're just fun, and explore, follow your passion about what's interesting to you and what might appeal to your storytelling. And everybody in Extension is a good storyteller. So we want to finish up here by inviting folks to be thinking about sharing some of their ideas about using this wonderful pocket television studio that we have available, and how might we create some compelling video to use in a whole different way. And off the top of my head, I came up with about half a dozen or more things. You could be creating very easy marketing pieces about that market your program, that market your presentation to or workshop. We talked about how-tos. Think of a simple how-to.
Or just showing your work, for grants and whatnot. So sometimes I'd like to see the results.
Yeah.
Of what you did with that money. Well, show them exactly. One thing is writing about it, and the other thing is showing it.
Mm-hmm.
If one picture is worth 1,000 words, how much is 30 frames?
Yeah. Also, you're out in the field. Something happens. If you have your phone with your smartphone, wow, you can capture stuff that you might not have known to bring a video camera for. But because you have it with you, you could probably capture some great field work, whether it's equipment or techniques or anything else.
I had something just the other day. It was Sunday. We're working out in the garden. My wife said, "What was that plant there?" I go, "I don't know." Mm-hmm. She wanted to get rid of it because it was, taking over. I said, "Well, let's take a video of it and just take it to the Marion County office there, and they should be able to help you." So it's okay. So I videotaped it, sent it to my daughter who was working there, and master gardeners who can get information on how to get rid of that.
There you go. Yeah, you could do equipment demos. You could do mini interviews with people in your client base or industry folks or other extension folks that you want to bring into your presentation. You could add these to your PowerPoint, all kinds of things. Okay, well, we do want to end with a contest. If any of you would like to create a Vine video, we'd love to see them. So go to your app store, see if you can find Vine, and try your hand at creating a little 6-second Vine video and share it with EMDUG.
Does it have to be extension specifically? Or
No,
just any type
I like cat videos too.
All right, great. Yeah, send us to us, and we'll be maybe showcasing.
Yeah, and they'll each get a hand-designed EMDUG T-shirt, drawn by hand by Victor Villegas.
Oh, what? I'll have to think about that. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us, and hope to see you guys next time. I'm not sure what we'll be going over next.
Actually, I have a connection that will be looking at using Evernote.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes, Evernote.
A guest presenter.
Right, from actually somewhere in the Midwest. Yeah, Stan Scrivet, an Evernote expert, and it's amazing what that program will do. It's changing my life. So
awesome. So look for that. Hopefully August, September. All right. Signing off. This is Victor
and Jeff.
See you guys later.
Remember, stay mobile.